Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about 14 benefits of being debt-free. Some of these are obvious, some of these are not so obvious, but you definitely want to stick around to the end because if you're not debt-free yet, by the end of this video, I hope I will have inspired you to want to be. Here we go. The first one is very obvious. You get an instant pay raise. If you have a car that's been costing you $400 a month and then you pay off that car, you know what you have now? An extra $400 a month. Number two, you have more money to make you money. Take that extra $400 you have now and either Dave Ramsey it and use it to pay on another debt that you have to free up even more income.
Shout out to the debt snowball.
Or you can take it, start investing, and start making some interest yourself instead of paying it. Number three, you eliminate the stress of past due payments. So many people now have their bills on auto draft that it may not be stressful for you. So I was kind of iffy about putting this one in here, but I've worked at a bank for a long time and I know that people stress out about this all the time. People are worried about when their payment is due. Did it get paid? Did the full amount get paid? If not, can I pay a little extra on it to make sure that it gets paid and I'm not past due because I want to avoid that late fee? If you're debt-free, you don't have to worry about that. Number four, less stress during a financial crisis. Take a pandemic like what's going on right now. Some folks are having a very, very hard time. If you're debt-free, your worst case scenario looks a whole lot better. You know that at least if my worst case scenario happened and I lost my job and my wife lost her job and our income completely stopped, our house is paid for, our cars are paid for, we're not going to lose those things. Number five, better health. Now, I can't prove to you that being debt-free is going to give you better health. However, there is overwhelming evidence that less stress is good for your immune system. And being debt-free definitely lowers stress. So I'm gonna throw this one in there. And I'm going to link to an article from Purdue University that shows less debt helps you feel better about yourself and about life in general. Number six, less stress means better sleep, better mental clarity. Through studies and scientific research, this is abundantly clear as well. I will link to a couple of those articles in the description also. Number seven, it's easier to retire. Not only do you have more money to invest and have that money working for you, but you also have less monthly expenses. Less expenses means less money you need to retire. If you have made it this far, you're probably either my mom trudging through to give me some emotional support, or you're actually digging it. If you are digging it, do you mind digging that like button to give me a little help? I would greatly appreciate it. Number eight, it helps build your net worth. Every time a payment is made, your debt goes down a little bit and your net worth goes up a little bit. Let's think of a house. Let's say you have a $100,000 house and you owe $100,000 on it. At the start, your net worth is negative $100,000 because the bank owns all of that equity. Now let's say you pay $1,000 on the house. Now you owe $99,000 on the house. You made a $1,000 payment, but now your net worth is $1,000 because you have $1,000 equity in the house. Once you have paid the home off, the entire net worth of that home belongs to you. So every time you make a payment, debt goes down and net worth goes up. Number nine, it's less stress for your family if you pass away. In other words, if you pass away, mama ain't worried about losing the house. If I pass away, the world will continue to spin, debt collectors will still collect, and they may leave you alone, but they're not going to leave your property alone. By the way, you need life insurance. The 10th benefit for being debt-free is you'll have a better relationship with your spouse or significant other. If you have someone you share the bills with, you've probably had an argument. Am I right? And there are so many studies and books that show money problems being one of the major causes of divorce. Some research you look at will say it's the number one cause of divorce in America. But it's always in the top 10, guys. Money problems damage your relationships with your significant other. And you know what you have if you're debt-free? Less money problems. 11, more freedom. Whenever you sign a contract agreeing to pay your car note every month for 5 years, you are legally and morally obligated to pay that back. You are kind of tying yourself to that, which makes it harder to quit your job. If you have something oppressing you and you need to get out of a bad work situation, it's hard to do knowing that you have obligations to make these payments. Knowing that if you just up and quit, you probably lose your car or your house or whatever you have loans on. Number 12, it builds confidence. Whenever you work hard to pay something off early, you will feel a sense of relief, but you will also feel that you're gaining control of your life. And when you feel like you're gaining control of your life, your confidence soars. And the more confidence you have in yourself and in the process, the more motivated you'll be to go even faster. We're getting close to the end. We're about to wrap things up. Number 13, it's a bit of a give me, but you're not paying interest. I'd like to show you a quick interest comparison between two individuals.
Let's take a peek at mortgagecalculator.org. This is person one. We'll call him regular Joe. He buys a home for $250,000. Because it's his first time buying a house, he qualifies for a 3% down payment through an FHA loan at an interest rate of 3.8%, which is about the national average. Earlier this year, the national average was about 4.5, so 3.8 is pretty good. And he's going to get the loan for 30 years. All of the other fields, we'll just leave them standard. His monthly payment is going to be $1,514 for 30 years. And the total interest that he will be paying over this 30 years is $164,280.77. This is on top of the $250,000 that he's actually paying for the house. So when 30 years have passed, he will have paid $250,000 for the house plus $164,280.77. That's a lot of money to give to the bank. Now let's look at our person two. This is Joe Schmo. Joe is going to buy a home for $250,000, just like our regular Joe. He's going to pay a 3% down payment, same FHA loan, at a 3.8% interest rate. Everything else is identical except for the long term. He's going to be paying for 15 years instead of 30. You would think that if you're paying 15 years instead of 30 years, that your payment would double. His payment did rise from $1,500 to $2,100. But if it had doubled, it would be at $3,000. So his payment went up by a little less than 50%. But if you look at the total interest that he pays in this 15 years, it's $76,000. That's way, way less than what our regular Joe paid on his total interest.
By not throwing away your money to interest, ultimately there will be more money in your pocket to, number 14, save, spend, and give. You can use the dollars that you were at one time spending on debt, you can use it to fund a vacation now. Or create a special giving envelope that you put $20 a week in or $40 a week. And after a month or so, you've got a couple $100. And that little envelope there is earmarked for just giving. And maybe you see an old lady that needs groceries and you go buy her groceries or whatever it is. Whenever you incorporate giving, oh man, it will feel like as much of a blessing to you as it is to the people you're helping. So I highly encourage that. If you're still watching and like what I got to say, would you mind subscribing to the channel? Turn on the little bell notification to be notified every time I drop a new life optimizing video. I'm aware that this video hasn't actually shown you how to be debt free, but maybe it inspired you to want to be debt free. If it did, stay tuned. I'll soon release a video showing how my wife and I paid off all of our debt, and we'll give you some practical tips in paying off specific debts like your car and give you some practical tips on how to save for a new one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.